The year was 2005 when Maruti Suzuki introduced a car which not just catered to the imagination of the passionate driver but also satisfied the family man. 1.7 million units have been sold, and now in 2018, Maruti Suzuki is bringing out the all-new Swift. It has a rich legacy to live up to, and the rivals have caught up too. The Indian audience is a lot more aware and a lot more demanding. Stay tuned for an in-depth look. There are several new design elements on the all-new Swift, primarily highlighted by the single aperture front grille, which looks really good on the car's profile from the front. There are also sharp LED projector headlamps, which you expect from all newer cars which are looking to make a mark as far as design is concerned. The side profile is again a very forward and very aggressive profile, and you can clearly see that the stance is moving forward. The AGS variants get silver cut alloys, the top end manual gets diamond cut alloys, while all other variants get wheel caps. The floating roofline design is also something that Maruti has been trying for some time now, and it has worked for most parts, and definitely works on the Swift as well. So full points to Maruti on that front. And you know what? The unique feature here are the door handles, which are, yes, not here, but in fact on the top. Whether it's a hit or a miss depends on subjective opinions and viewpoints, but yes, full marks to Maruti for trying something really unique, something we've seen in the past in other cars, but definitely not in any of the Maruti Suzukis. The rear profile of the Swift also gets changed. It looks slightly similar to some of the rivals on the road, but yes, the LED tail lamps look really sharp. You know what? The boot is very interesting because the size has gone up, and it's not just in terms of numbers, but it has visibly gone up as well. The car is also wider and has a longer wheelbase, and Maruti Suzuki claims that there is more space on the inside, not just in the boot, but also for rear and front passengers. So let's take a closer look at what's inside. On the inside, the Swift continues to be a driver's delight. That's thanks to the console, which has been redesigned. The dash also is fresh. Now there are cheap plastics here and there, but they are very rare, and Maruti can be forgiven for that. What Maruti has done really well is the flat bottom steering makes an entry into the Swift. We saw that in the Desire, and now the Swift also gets it, which adds to the comfort and feel of the wheel itself. Really like the dash, which has been updated, and there is a nice plush feel to it for most parts. The controls for the AC deserve a special mention because they're really futuristic and very contemporary. The Swift gets a lot of storage facilities for everybody in the car. There are now provisions for storing 1 liter bottles as well. But what doesn't work all that much are the control panels, which frankly look pretty outdated. Instead, now we get some sort of cushioning for your elbow here, which is pretty okay, but we do really miss not having a central armrest for the driver. I never really had much of a complaint as far as seating comfort in the Swift was concerned, but very frankly, I'm a fan now in the 2018 Swift because the seats have even more cushioning, and this part here has contoured, so there is a very nice and snug feel when you're trying to race away on your Swift. Maruti has not tried to fix what is not broken, and what was never broken were the petrol and diesel engines on the Swift. All the petrol and diesel engines have been carried forward to the 2018 Swift, and in addition you have two automatic variants as well, one for the petrol and one for the diesel, which is what we're driving right now. And we've driven it extensively as part of this review, and we're very positive about what this car has to offer. Now remember, the diesel on the Swift has been one of the most talked about and one of the most appreciated in its segment. The thrust, the throttle, the power, the aggressiveness of the Swift, the DDIS engine under the hood, has been very, very appreciated around the world. Now, what happens in the AGS version is the power is slightly less, but what you lose in terms of power, you gain in terms of comfort. This is a very, very refined diesel engine. It's not that the power is absolutely lagging, it's still there, but yes, only and only when you compare it to the manual diesel version that you'll probably feel that you need to push a little harder. But overall, the engine is responsive as ever. The rear seat is actually a mixed bag with a lot of pros and a few cons here and there. For example, there is a lot of space. My colleague who's driving the car is about 5'7", 5'8", which is the average Indian height, and I'm extremely comfortable with how my legs are positioned. There is a lot of knee room and a lot of leg room as well. Now, while that is a positive, what is another positive is that the cushioning again on the back seat is really good. I'm really satisfied with the amount of padding that these have. If only they were a little contoured, the snug feeling which we spoke about earlier in the front seats would have been in the back seats as well. What I do not like in the rear is this jutting out right here, which remember is the door handle, which now is not really on the door where it usually is, but right here. What happens is the window is actually quite big, but because of the handle being here in the dark color, the cabin at the back is not as airy, or does not at least feel as airy as it actually is. The drive in particular is all about comfort and convenience inside the automatic diesel. There is that slight input that is required from the driver, but that's not a lot, and the fact that there is an automatic option in the Swift now should excite a lot many prospective buyers. Those who are really looking for an interesting and exciting drive, the Swift for most parts will again not disappoint. The force feedback from the steering is slightly lesser than what we've seen and what we've become accustomed to in the Swift, but that should not be by any stretch of imagination a deal breaker. When you've been the best in the game for several years, it's not always easy to improve your style and your game. But that is exactly what Swift 2018 seeks to do, and it checks most of the boxes right. Barring a few small glitches here and there, we think this car is going to be another success story from the Maruti stable and will continue to go on and win hearts. Thank you so much for watching.